Good afternoon. Welcome to Midcap Radar. I'm Sonal Bhutra. With me is Vivek Iyer. A very volatile markets is something that we are dealing with. The Nifty is off around 400 points from the day's high. Almost at the day's low actually right now at the 25,084 mark. So we'll have to see whether we sustain at the 25,000 mark or not. The Bank Nifty down around 600 points from the highs of the day. And there was this sudden fall after that sudden surge that we saw. Something that was not expected, but looks like volatility could continue.
The only thing that's moving up is the volatility index. No, that's the only thing that's moving up this Friday. Very, very sharp and volatile trading session. You did see a 1,000-point recovery now after the gap down opening. But again, the Bank Nifty is once again back down closer to the day's lowest point. But quite a lot lined up on the show. Let's start off with the top headlines. Volatile day for the markets even as uncertainty looms over the possible escalation of the Israel-Iran conflict, the strength of the China recovery and the outcome of the US election. IT and PSU banks eke out gains even as realty and FMCG drag.
BFSI stocks in focus on the back of Q2 updates. Bank of Baroda surges after deposits in Q2 grew 9.1% while advances surged 11.6% on a YOY basis. M&M Financial slumps over 5% as disbursements slip versus last year.
Avenue Supermarts under pressure as its business update indicates standalone revenue growth of 14% in the second quarter. The company also added 6 more stores in the quarter gone by.
Sundaram Clayton surges after the company launches a QIP to raise 400 crore rupees. Sources tell CNBC-TV18 that the indicative issue price is 2,205 rupees a share. Proceeds to be used for debt repayment and general corporate purposes.
SH Kelkar surges in trade as the company reports healthy demand across segments in its Q2 business update. Sees double-digit revenue growth in European segment despite subdued demand.
Okay, so it's a big fall, something that we have spoken about in depth now. Nifty has broken the earlier low as well, which was around 25,072. Right now, the Nifty is at 25,066. So this is the low point of the day that the Nifty is at right now. Nifty IT continues to be in the green, but it has come off from the highs. We have just 3 sectoral indices in the green right now. But this fall has come in for a number of reasons. We have seen the Bank Nifty fall from the highs. The Nifty IT has come off from the highs. The PSU banking index that has been doing well for a large part of the day. It's still in the green, up around 0.9%, but that too has come off from the highs of the day. A lot of stock-specific moves. Of course, Hormaz will talk about it in just a bit. But as Vivek was saying, it's the volatility index that's surging. Apart from that, it's definitely a very, very volatile session.
Very volatile trading session. Some more sectors that are seeing quite a bit of selling pressure. Of course, it's the auto pack, has cooled off quite significantly from the top. Even tire maker companies, they too have seen quite a bit of selling pressure. But a whole host of stocks is what Hormaz has on his list. Hormaz, over to you.
Well, if there are reversals as dramatic and as sharp as these, you would rather not have them to begin with if you are a bull. You not want to watch the screen on this Friday afternoon, but the broader markets too witnessing some selling pressure in line with the benchmark indices. Not as much, but still in the red is the mid-cap index. So we'll start off with the losers then in the broader markets. Real estate is one sector that is bearing the brunt of this sell-off. Godrej Properties is among the top losers there. At the lowest point of the day, 5% lower. At the lowest point is also Chambal Fertilizers, 5.5% down in today's session. And Sterling and Wilson also not having a very good day at the office. Some other stocks that are impacted because of the business updates, and a whole host of them came in last evening. M&M Financial at one point was down 7%, still 5.5% down. Bank of Baroda is the only one that is being an outlier today. PSU Bank still doing well. And Avenue Supermarts after this update is down 4%, with brokerages having a cautious stance on the stock. Some selling pressure continues to persist in select PSU names. We spoke about a lot of these yesterday. The railway linked names as well. RVNL down below the mark of 500 now. HPCL down 2.5%, and GAIL has seen a very sharp slide, down 4% in today's session. And lastly, there are some stocks that are bucking the trend in a market like this, still holding on to gains. Oil Explorers, of course, Oil India at the highest point of the day now, 5.5% higher, as is BSC, heading towards the record high that it made in yesterday's session, as is 361 WAM, and Tejas Networks is having a good day from a lower circuit. The stock is now up 3.5%. Back to you guys.
Okay, so some of the movers, some outliers as well. Oil India up 6%. Crude is very close to that $79 per barrel mark as well. So thank you so much, Hormas, for joining in as always and telling us some of these movers, interesting ones in the broader markets. It's a good time to get a technical check on the markets as well. Let's welcome Rachna Vaidya of rachnavedya.in for a technical check. Rachna, good afternoon. Thank you so much for joining in. Well, what are the markets contemplating now? Do you think there could be a further pressure from here on? And it could be not that great a Friday for the bulls.
Good afternoon. Thanks for having me here. And yes, I do agree with you that there could be more on the downside in the market. And unless and until we start to rally from a reliable level, from a reliable location, the same thing is going to happen. What happened today is that the rallies may fail only because they have not come from the kind of level that we would like to see the rallies coming from. Say, for example, on Nifty, if we check out the support which is reliable, that would be around 25,000 and 24,800. And not before that. So there is much more downside, according to me, on the indices from here on. And only after that, a reliable level will come from where the rallies could come, which could see sustenance and follow through.
Okay, Rachna, any individual picks for the day?
Yeah, as far as the individual picks are concerned, I would like to give a pick on Bajaj Finserv, where you could see further downside. Right now, it is at 1911 on futures. And if this breaks down from 1900, then you could go short on this with a stop loss of around 1925, and the target could be 1850. So this is one, and the other could be Unilever in the Unilever, wherein you can again go short on a breakdown of on a failure of a rally of 2870. There is a probability that we could again see a rally in the market in the coming days. And if the stock goes to 2870, that is where you could go again short with a stop loss of 2910. And then your downside target could be 2750. So the only difference is that in the previous days, you could be selling anywhere and you were making money. Now you have to be a little cautious and sell on rallies and breakdowns so that your risk-reward ratio is better. And then you make money on the downside.
Rachna, so you have two sell calls, any buy calls, and also have you had a chance to look at the HDFC Bank chart? A lot of news flow coming in today, but it has sold off quite significantly from the day's high. So anything on the buy side and your view on HDFC Bank?
See, with the kind of FI selling pressure that we have been seeing, aided again by accompanied again by the global cues, I don't think the large caps, especially names like HDFC banks, which have been favorites with FIs, could be seeing any relief rally or any support over here. So the support that may emerge could only be at around 1640. Right now we are at 1676. So there is much more on the downside, according to me, in HDFC Bank also from here on, especially because of the sellings from FIs. And as far as the long call is concerned, one long call that one could be looking at could be in ONGC. ONGC could be a beneficiary as far as the oil on boil is also concerned. And that is why during this pullback, right now when the price is around 295, if one tries to go long in any of the stocks, then this could be one of the stocks that could be in the radar. And if you keep a stop loss of say 290 over here, then you could be looking at a target of 300 and 305.
All right, Rachna, thank you so much for joining in today. So those are some technical picks and a technical check on the markets as well. We'll slip into a short break. We'll get you more on the markets and focus on SH Kelkar in our mid-cap spotlight segment. Stay tuned for that.
Welcome back to Mid Cap Radar. Well, the pharma index today is the one that's holding out a bit, but one stock, from the healthcare index that's taking quite a bit of a beating today is Granules India. Granules India is down almost 5%. Keep in mind this is after the company in the last 2 weeks has actually seen some regulatory action come in. And an important thing to note as far as Granules India is concerned is the fact is that the stock has entered the F&O ban today, so no fresh F&O positions can be taken over here. Stock, as you can see, down over 5%. But one stock that's doing very well today is SH Kelkar. The company is in focus on the back of its Q2 business update. This is our segment, Mid-Cap Spotlight. Sonal, you've been tracking this particular name.
Oh, yes. So, and there have been a lot of initiating coverages earlier on the stocks. It has been in focus, and now there's a Q2 update which has come by, and the company sounds very bullish. They talk about how the business sentiment has remained positive and healthy demand has been seen across most of the segments. Even their recovery is seen in the order backlog, which was a problem earlier. The European market, where demand continues to be an issue, has seen a healthy recovery. So Europe is a big market for them, and recovery there is something that the street likes because they have achieved a double-digit revenue growth there. Their first half has seen growth of 17.4% in terms of revenues, which is 1,000 crore rupees. So remember, their Q1 revenues were at 454 crore rupees, so they have done more than 500 crore rupees. These are provisional numbers, of course, but this is the revenue number for them this time. There is a shift in product mix this time around, so this led to moderation in gross margins on a sequential basis, but on a YY basis, there has been an improvement. While the numbers look good, they do talk about certain issues. They are talking about strategic raw materials being unavailable, which is a problem, and this will result in price increases in the coming quarters despite supply conditions remaining stable. So we'll be watching out for the margin pressures going forward, or we'll watch out whether they're passing on these price hikes to the customers and whether that's taken positively by the customers or not. Net debt has risen, so that's a problem, 596 crores in September quarter. And remember, it was around 550 crores in Q1. While it's a 40 crore or a 50 crore increase, the company has been talking about a debt reduction every quarter, but this hasn't come by this time around. So we'll be watching out for their debt reduction targets as well. They say debt increased due to inventory replacement. So we'll watch out for what the inventory numbers look like in the coming quarters. On the promoter holding, they said that yes, promoters sold around 3.32% holding in September for personal requirements, but they do not see more of this happening. Maybe one of the things that the street is liking. So while the numbers look good in Q2, of course, there are certain monitorables in terms of raw material supply and the debt reduction plans as well of the company that we'll be watching out for.
Thank you so much for bringing light to that. We'll keep an eye out on both price increases as well as the debt movement. But moving on, Angel One is in focus after the brokerage in its September update reported gross client addition growth of 5% sequentially. Vamakshi is here with more details.
Well, absolutely, Vivek. It's a decent update coming in from Angel One this time around, much better than what they had posted in the month of August. Let me quickly take you through the details. The gross client addition stood at 9.5 lakh. This is an uptick of almost 5.6% month on month. Now, this is better because the client acquisition has picked up pace after seeing a very sharp drop in the month of August. The growth rate, however, is still lower as compared to the average growth rate that we saw in the months of from May to July 2024. Resultantly, when we look at the client base, it is seeing a decent uptick of 3.2% month on month, more or less in line with what we had seen in the month of August. The average daily orders, however, are down nearly 2.8% month on month. The average daily turnover, on the other hand, has seen a jump of almost 6.9%, and with this, it has risen for the second consecutive month. As far as market share is concerned, equity market share has seen a slight bit of a recovery, 10 basis points higher on a month-on-month basis to 19.4%. F&O market share, however, has remained flat for the fourth consecutive month at 20.7%. The commodity market share, which was improving for the company for the third consecutive month, is now seeing a fall of almost 150 basis points to 61.8%. So overall, I would say it's a decent update coming in from Angel One.
Okay, decent update coming in from Angel One, but of course, the kind of market that we are in, there is some decline that we are seeing on the stock. But Vamakshi, you're also focusing on asset management companies. The mutual fund industry has witnessed another strong quarter. Tell us more. What does the note say?
Well, absolutely. There's a note coming in from Kotak Institutional Equities. They're focusing on AMCs as well as RTAs. On AMCs, they say that the MF industry saw another strong quarter. The average AUM was up nearly 12% sequentially, while equity AUM was up much higher, 15% sequentially. And this in turn translates to a 5 to 10% earnings upgrade for the AMCs. Now, out of the AMCs, they highlight that HDFC AMC and Nippon AMC are likely to post the strongest earnings growth in the second quarter. ABSL, that is Aditya Birla Sun Life AMC, and UTI AMC still have to catch up on fund performance before we start to see larger flow shares for them. As far as yields are concerned, revenue yields have been under pressure due to the AUM growth, and in fact they're expecting a 3 to 5% annualized yield compression for AMCs from FY25 to 27. Now let's also look at what their ratings are on certain AMCs. ABSL AMC, they've got an ad rating. They've gone ahead and increased their target price out here. For HDFC AMC, Nippon AMC and UTI AMC, they have a reduced rating. They've upped the target price for HDFC AMC and UTI AMC, but they've left it largely unchanged for Nippon. For HDFC and Nippon, they say that both of these companies are fully pricing in the fund performance-led re-rating as well as strong earnings growth. The convincing investment case for ABSL and UTI AMC, they believe, needs evidence of a turnaround in their fund performance, and however, they're seeing some early signs in the 3-month and 6-month basis. On RTAs, they've highlighted that they like RTAs for their stable, predictable MF operations and fast-growing non-MF business. However, they believe that the valuations for these counters are quite expensive. Given those factors, for CAMS, they have a reduced rating, target price of 4,200, while for KFIN, they've downgraded their rating to a sell. Target price, however, has been increased from 770 earlier to 900 per share.
Thank you so much for that, Vamakshi. KFIN Technologies is under pressure today. As we now slip into a short break, here's some good news for your viewers. India's business leader is now a click away, introducing CNBC-TV18's all-new app. Get instant access to breaking news, in-depth articles, and financial world updates at your fingertips. Download the CNBC-TV18 app now from the Apple Store or the Google Play Store.
Well, it's Friday, so while we are tracking markets very closely, we have to talk about something fun as well. And there's been that recent craze over Diljit Dosanjh, Dua Lipa and Coldplay's upcoming concerts, and they've displayed the spending shift in urban India. The young are spending more on events, concerts, travel and experiences. Mangalam is joining us with more details. Mangalam.
Well, you know, it is all about that, right? The young are spending more on events, and as a result of which, the older millennials who also have some money are spending a fair amount on experiences. So if you look at, you know, the swathe of things that people spend on, there's events, there's travel, there's luxury goods, there's fashion. We've heard about how people queued up for the iPhone 16 or bought them off a lot of these quick commerce apps as well. So that's where a large part of the upper echelons of society are spending. Younger and, you know, the fast forward people as well. We saw that with nearly 1 million people waiting in queue for tickets for Coldplay, which were priced between what 6,000 rupees to 35,000 odd rupees as well. And that's not all. Apart from Colgate, there was, you know, Diljit Dosanjh, Dua Lipa, Bryan Adams, and all of them selling nearly 250,000 tickets. And a large part of those tickets, which found their way back onto these reselling platforms, saw buyers at prices which were 5 times the original listed price as well. That's telling you about the demand for this. If you club all of that together, you know, CLSA has done some maths. These concerts account for nearly 350 to 400 crores of revenue itself, and that is nearly 30 to 40% of incremental sales of quick service restaurants itself. We saw that, you know, even when the World Cup happened in India early last year. So those are a bunch of things that we will continue to keep watching an eye out on. And earlier this afternoon, we also had Roshan Abbas talking about, you know, this industry being a 3,000 crore industry over the next couple of years. So now you have Dua Lipa, Bryan Adams, Diljit Dosanjh, AP Dhillon, Karan Aujla and Coldplay, all of them in the next few months. Let's see where one manages to get tickets for.
That's right. You know, that's where all the fight lies, whether or not you do get the tickets. But thank you so much for that interesting take, Mangalam. But with that, it's all the time we have on this edition of Midcap Radar Mutual Fund Corner when we return.